Welcome back, people. Thanks to everybody that likes, shares, and has subscribed and hit that notification bell. These are all beautiful people. Um, and yes, thanks to everybody that has donated in the Buy Me a Coffee link. I mean, you don't need to do that. I'm not here for the money. But for anybody that does do that, I appreciate that. This channel isn't monetized. I don't know if I'm going to monetize it. But a lot of people ask questions like, why is the mass migration happening in Ireland? Well, to understand that, you need to first understand Europe. Ireland changed whenever they adopted the euro. I seen the change. I didn't like it. None of my family liked it either. Now, I'm from the north here, and a lot of people ask me, why do you speak about the Republic of Ireland? There's no borders, guys. There's two governments, but there's no borders. What affects down south affects up here. And what affects up here affects down south, and you need to know that. And for the possible unification of Ireland, I need to make sure that both north and south are politically sound before that happens. For instance, if there was a unification in the morning, the place would crumble. Because politically, nobody in the north here understands what's happening in the south. Nobody seems to care. You ask anybody up here about who Leo Varadkar is, they'll look at you like you've got the cat started talking. They don't even know who he is. And it's the same for a lot of people in the Republic of Ireland. Who's Michelle O'Neill? You know, is that a singer? She sounds like a singer. Do you know what I mean? So, but I do, and I understand it, and I want to understand the Irish Republican political system a lot more, so I know what I'm getting involved with. I'm for a united Ireland. There will be a united Ireland one day. It needs to happen. But before that happens, we'll have to make sure that the political spectrum is 100% safe and sound. Well, not 100%, 80% safe and sound. You're always going to have 20% loony bins trying to destroy society. You're seeing that with Leo Varadkar now. Unfortunately, the 20% has infiltrated Ireland, and there's no voice of reason in the Dáil. So, and there's no voice of reason in Stormont up here either, guys. We haven't had a government for some time. But the main reason why there's mass migration into Ireland, north and south, and why there is not political corruption, but that's one of the reasons for it. But the reason why it's happening is because they're bringing in droves of people that are politically compliant, that will vote to keep these people in power. You're seeing that in the United States. Right now in the United States of America, Ireland, Europe, and a lot of Western countries, you're seeing the mass migration of people going into these countries, coming from war-torn countries, coming from communism. Because what the whack jobs have realised is, well, we can't keep the people happy off that land. So what we're going to do is we're going to import people that will just be happy with anything that comes out of our mouth. They're not going to stand up and fight. They're not the most educated of people. They've came from places where they've lived in impoverished areas. Their children are starving. So if we import these people and have open door policies to allow them in, they will vote to keep us in power. So throughout the past couple of years, they have adopted an open door policy, allowing these people to come in. Now, unfortunately, Ireland has a subsection to it where they listen to the propaganda machine that is RTE, and up here that would be BBC. And I don't understand why the people listen to that. I can understand why people listen to RTE, but I don't understand how people listen to the BBC. The BBC are complicit in the destruction of the Irish people. The BBC told stories of how every Irish man was in the IRA and is a terrorist, when that wasn't the case. It's like under 1% of the Irish population was involved in the paramilitary organisations. So, you mean, why would you trust these people? These people have always been politically corrupt and state-owned media. So why would you trust them? And the same logic applies to RTE. Why are you listening to RTE? This is state-owned media. This is happening in Canada too. You're seeing it in Canada. Canada's very extreme at the minute, where they have programs where people can literally go, if you're feeling depressed, to de-life yourself. Or you're feeling sad, well, here's a program here, we'll take you in here to this room and you'll be gone forever. It's absolutely disgusting. They don't value Western human life because we are educated. We're politically educated. We're smart, we're intelligent, and we are the force to be reckoned with. And I'm not saying that our life is worth any more than, say, an African's life. I'm not trying to say that. Every life means something. But whenever we have grown up in a society of people Our ancestors fought against a tyrannical system. The British fought against a tyrannical system. The Americans, the American Revolution, they fought against a tyrannical system. And we educated ourselves and we pumped in resources so our children wouldn't make the same mistakes. Now, whenever you have these Satanists in Europe who want to corrode society and they're looking to push worldwide communism, right? And that's what they're trying to do. And there's a lot of people that quote communism and they actually don't understand it. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people in Dublin and the cops were arresting people and they were saying, look, that's communism, that's communism. That's not communism. That's being a little bit authoritarian, but it's not communism. To live in a communist society, you're living in a beehive. We all work for the centre, the queen bee, which is the government. Everybody's given a little bit of plot of land. And then on paper communism works, but realistically it doesn't work because it just leads to extreme authoritarianism, where people are dying left, right and centre. There's no singular person, there's no individuality. Everybody just works for the hive like a bee. But unfortunately we're not bees, we've got a consciousness. We have the ability to think and to self-reflect. So that's why communism doesn't work. We've trialed and tested it. More people died under communism than anything else in the world. Just look at Stalin. I'm definitely not a socialist because that's been trialed and tested and it definitely doesn't work. So the only way to go is capitalism kept the check on. Now there's people that don't want that because they don't want free thinkers. So the biggest reason for the mass migration into Ireland would be the push for communism. And the only way that they can obtain that is to have mass migration into these countries, and those people will vote to keep the corrupt in power so they can implement the further plan of a communist type society. Now unfortunately there's a lot of people being hurt at the minute in regards to refugees, asylum seekers, and these people, I don't really want to take it out on them. But the countries that they're coming from are seeing an opportunity to empty their prisons, to empty their asylums. Why do you think 70% of the people that come to Ireland rip up their passports or don't even have a passport? Because if they were identified, they wouldn't be allowed in because they've done something really, really bad. So that would lead me to believe that 70% of the people who are coming into Ireland that are destroying their passports or coming here without a passport are bad people. And then you've got another percentage of them that are just decent, good people that want to just live in a nice, free society. So why is it ludicrous for me to turn around and say, if anybody that comes to Ireland without a passport isn't getting in? Because if that's implemented in the morning, you've got 70% a 70% reduction in people coming to Ireland. 70%. I would think that would make the Irish people happy. But they don't want that because then that's a 70% reduction of votes they will not get. And that's the main reason. You have to understand communists. Communists are for the long game. They're not, think of it as a beehive. Bees don't work for that second. They're not working even for the next day. They're working for the lifetime of the hive. And that's what it is. And it is solely, if you're religious, you would call it satanic. If you were atheist, you would call it negative. Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying here? So that's the main reason for it. And it's a slow, gradual societal change. That's what it is. And they slowly do it. They slow drip it in 5 years' time. They're saying, well, what's the problem? So, well, I've seen this place change over the past 5 years. Well, everywhere changes. And then 20 years goes by and the next minute you're living in a society where there's central control of money. They're bringing that in with the crypto. There's centralized control of the food. They're buying up all the farmland. They're raising the price of all the farming stuff, so it's making it harder to be a farmer. Then they're coming in with mad prices to buy the land up, and they're having state farmers. You're seeing the revolt in France. They're starting it here in the north of Ireland here. And they'll be starting it in the Republic too, because the farmers have realised that the government is attacking us. But the reason they're attacking them is because they're looking centralised control of food. One of the biggest things in communism is to control the food supply. If you control the food supply, you control the people. There is businesses in America Like if you look going to San Francisco in America, I'm sure you'll see it in Dublin too. There's businesses closing down left, right, and centre, and most of these are food places. Why is that? Because it's the slow drip. And this all started at the beginning of you know what, whenever the sniffles came in. And I do believe that that was whenever the sniffles came in and everybody got that, was told to wear a face nappy, that was the start of it. That was, in my opinion, a game plan. And they knew exactly what they were doing, and they needed that psychological attack on us to further implement what they're doing now. That's my opinion on it, right? I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is my opinion on it. So you've got this. You the future is bleak if we allow this to happen. Look at England. The English people have allowed their country to be infiltrated by people not off their land. And how do you think that happened? Well, from the 70s, they made movies and they made articles about the big bad English people being racist. Now, to a certain degree, was racist there, yes. You know, but if you look at Northern England has a lot of love for the north of Ireland, especially during the Troubles. They didn't want to be here. Some of the soldiers said it was like going into and invading my own land and hurting my own people because the place just looked like where I came from. Why did that happen? Because of the governments, because of politics. Why did the Iraqi war happen? Because of the governments, because of politics. Why have so many people died due to war since the early 1930s right up until now? Not because of the people, because of the governments and because of politics. So you take that logic and you apply it to the political system of your own land. I do not believe our governments have our best interests at heart. I do not believe our governments have our best, our welfare at heart, where we will go in the next 20 years, because the spider web that is Europe, and the center of that spider web you have a communistic tarantula that has thrown out little baby spiders like Leo Varadkar that have infiltrated sovereign countries like Ireland and are actively working for the hive. That's what they're doing. And you need to know that. And if people think that this is a whack job conspiracy theory, I don't care, because there's going to be a majority of people that will listen to this. And the only way that you fight against this is if you vote. Now, the biggest conspiracy theory ever was, and still is, telling our young people not to get involved in politics. Because we were always brought up, don't get involved in politics and religion. But guess what? That was a conspiracy theory. They created that so then the good people wouldn't get involved in politics. It's not a coincidence to me that you have a collection of people left and right in politics right now that you wouldn't leave alone with a dog. Let's face facts here. You wouldn't do it. They all sing from the same song sheet, the lefties and the righties. Why is that? Because those people got into politics for their own gain, for their own political gain. That's why it's very important for you to vote. And if there's any young people listening to this here and you think, well, I'm not going to get involved in politics, you're the person we need in politics. I'm 36 years of age. I could possibly in the future have a political career, but I should have got involved in the politics whenever I was like 16. So if you're watching this and you're 16 years of age and you do have normal thinking views and you care about the people of your land, get involved in politics. Do not listen to the age-old saying, don't get involved in politics and religion. That is a conspiracy. That is a conspiracy to corrupt your brain to not benefit your land. It's very heavily important that we promote politics within young people. And then we'll change society for the better forever. And this infiltration of evil will cease to exist. So yeah, why is the mass migration happening in Ireland? Because we're bringing in people that are compliant, that will not stand up to the government, that are already coming from a tyrannical system. They've came from a tyrannical system, while the native people are fighting against a tyrannical system. That's the difference. So they're going to vote. To them, this is heaven, regardless of the whack job. Even if they're coming from heavy Islamic countries, they don't care about the LGBTQ. They're just going to go, right, well, we'll just stay away from them. I've seen the videos of Dublin. There's people nodding out on the streets with fentanyl. People not from Ireland nodding out on the streets from fentanyl. There is a common denominator between all the what's happening to all the countries right now. Drugs is a big issue. Fentanyl. It's demonic. This is being promoted by China. China. China promotes the usage of fentanyl in the West because it's more destructive than heroin, it's more destructive than crack. And if you look at China and the long game that they play because they're communists, well, they're not going to just come in and nuke us and take over. They can't do that. But they can slow drip these drugs into our society, which eventually will corrode everything around us, like fentanyl. Disgusting, terrible drug that kills people. And people feel so bleak these days in Ireland that they want anything to take them away from reality. So yeah, I'll just try a bit of that fentanyl, and the next minute you're off your tits, and there's no better high than that. And then you take a bad dose of it, and then you're dead. So don't get involved in that. Think about your future. Think about your children. Stay away from drugs. Exercise. Eat clean. Live life to the fullest. There's a lot of people that just sit every single day, eat Cheetos all day, fill their kids and themselves full of sugar, don't drink water, don't exercise, and then complain that they're depressed. If you weren't depressed, there's something wrong with you. If you're not depressed after doing all that, you should be depressed after doing all that. This is what I'm trying to say. This is the only way to fight against it, is to teach our children how to live. And that's the way I feel about it. Now, the countries where these people are coming from, they're going, great, this is fantastic, because what we're doing is we're emptying our prisons, our asylums, and we're getting rid of our bad people from our society. And because these weak leftist countries like Ireland have got open door policies, we can just get rid of everybody. Think about it. Be great. If I was in one of these countries thinking, do you know what? I think Fidel Castro done it, didn't he? Don't quote me on that historical piece that I just said there, but I think Fidel Castro done that, didn't he? He emptied his prisons and his asylums. Fight, people. We're Irish. When I say fight, I don't mean lift your fist and be physically violent. I'm saying politically fight. Make your voice heard. You're Irish. I don't care if you're a unionist that considers themselves British and you're listening to this here. You're Irish. You're Irish. You come from the island of Ireland. You just identify as British. We can identify as anything these days, can't we? Do you know what I mean? You're Irish. You're Irish. We need to fight as Irish men and women, politically, in an intelligent way. I'm not going to let my country corrode around me. I would rather die. Okay? Now, how does the future get better? Well, just as I said there, we understand what is happening. We don't hold resentment towards the people that are doing it, because forgiveness is key. Remember, good always fights evil. Sorry, good always beats evil. And we politically destroy our opponents with facts. And we vote. We must vote. The upcoming referendums in Ireland, we must vote no. That's a clear attack. That is a woke attack on our constitution to change the definition of a mother and to create loopholes where refugees can bring in like 20 of their family members under the new, if they get the constitutional change, under durable relationships. We must protect our mothers of the future. We must protect our mothers now. We must vote no. This is a necessity. If you had brought this up 30 years ago, they would have looked at you as if you had 10 heads. And of course, and rightly so. Let's start looking at people as if they've got 10 heads. We need to go back to them ways where if somebody says something stupid, we laugh at them and go, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Even if it's me. If I come out with a wacky idea, I want you to turn around to me and say, come on, Ronan, catch your grip of yourself, pull yourself together, and, look at me as if you're Roy Keane. Everybody needs a bit of Roy Keane in them. They go, what? Come on now. Catch your grip of yourself. Vote no. Protect your mothers, protect the family. This isn't a constitutional change because it's a misogynistic law. This is a constitutional change because Leo Varadkar realizes that the economy is shit that he's created, and he's trying to push women out to work to fix the problem that he created. Okay? That's what I have for you today, guys. Remember, smash the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment and tell me what you think. Thanks to everybody that donates in the Buy Me a Coffee. And share too, guys. And if you want to go follow me on the free speech platforms, just use the links in the description. Peace out.